What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Geeks and Company and another episode of the After Show. That's right. The logos are different. We're because it's secret.
The Secret Invasion.
That's right. We are talking about Secret Invasion. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a regular thing for us. We're doing this episode. Whether we follow through till the end of the season, I guess will highly depend on one, if we get invested into this show, and if it turns out to be a really good show. There are other shows coming out that I think have more of our interest, which we may decide to do after shows for instead. But me and my compadre over here, Mr. Messiah Complex Cosplay, we have watched episode 1, season 1 of Secret Invasion, so we figure might as well talk a little bit about it.
Let's talk about it.
You were just saying before we went live, this is a short season. First of all, it's only 6 episodes.
Yep.
And there probably won't be a follow-up season because really Secret Invasion was a storyline in the comics that had a beginning and an end. Right?
Yeah.
It's not something that went on and on and on, which is where I think when you're taking a concept and making it into a show, I don't think that show is going to go on for many seasons. I think it's going to be one show and it's going to lead into the next thing.
Right.
The impression you're getting?
And I mean, we're only 1 episode in, but 1 episode in is 1/6 of the show so far, right? And it feels this feels like a bridge between Captain Marvel and I don't know if it's the Marvels or if it's the next. It feels like a connective tissue more so than its own freestanding thing. It just seemed like, well, we haven't used Nick Fury a lot in the last few years in the MCU. We should make a vehicle around Sam Jackson's character so we can feature him prominently. And they did. They did mess around this episode. He's in the first scene, and he's in most of the scenes of the show. Like, this is a very Nick Fury show thus far.
My understanding is this is a Nick Fury show.
Right.
He is going to be the main character of the show.
I think he's executive producing too.
Oh, that might
Samuel Jackson.
That'd be amazing.
Positive. I saw that come up in the credits. So.
I'll have to go back and look at that. But I congrats to him if he is.
No, for sure.
I think that a Nick Fury product, whether it be a movie or a show or whatever format it should take, is long overdue.
Right.
I think that when you consider the last Nick Fury movie we had, David Hasselhoff was Nick Fury. I think it's time we have something else, right? And the Secret Invasion storyline, I think, is a good place to go. I am going to point out that for me, I have limited exposure to the original Secret Invasion storyline in the comics, other than the fact that it heavily revolves around Fury and Hill. That's pretty much as far as I go. Do you have any prior?
Before we go any further, guys, obviously, like we've said on previous after shows, we are going to be talking about a rather spoiler event that happened at the end of the episode,
which we are going to talk about quickly.
So if you haven't watched the first episode, please go watch that and then come back and watch this, because
spoiler warning is now.
Yeah, huge. I'm in the same boat. I know the concept is the Skrulls have been invading Earth or at least coming to Earth and becoming people up in the hierarchy, like invading our system for years, and it finally comes to a head. I don't know the motivations. I don't know if they're the same in the comic as they are in the show with the needing a home or whatever. I said this to you when we were talking before the show. It seems a lot of what's going on here, even though it's very much a Nick Fury show, is based on what happened in Captain Marvel. And I only watched Captain Marvel one time when it first came out. I didn't enjoy it. I've not watched it since. So there's a ton of references that happened in that first episode that I have no clue who they're talking about, what events transpired that they're referring to. Maybe it's just because I'm old, my memory sucks, but I don't know what's happening in a lot of these. Like the British woman that he ends up like getting abducted by the thugs and then he talks to. Have we seen her? Was she in? Have we seen her before?
I don't think so. If we have, it was in something that I haven't seen.
Okay. Because they were definitely talking like she had been on the screen before. And I'm like, I don't remember.
No, I think I have a feeling that in the case of that character, that was our introduction to that character, but they
Okay.
wanted to make sure that we knew that Nick Fury knows her.
They had a history. Yeah.
Right? They have history, right? I mean, he was Shield, she's MI6. They
Right.
had to have some sort of history in the past, and I think maybe that's what that was all about, because he was way too familiar with her and her office and where everything is. And you should know that I prefer bourbon. Well, really? How the fuck? What?
Yeah. So here's my question to you, because the thing that was, I almost wanted to be I don't know, man. I'm all for character growth and arcs that bring characters to new places, and not just having the same old with the same characters all the time. But the changes to the Fury character from what we've seen throughout the entirety of the MCU and what we got in that first episode, forever. Hill even points it out. She's like, you've always been 3 steps ahead. And this whole episode, people just keep telling him, you're not ready for this. You're not engaged. He just came across as the entire episode. It's just this doddering old man that's just like kind of meandering his way through this plot, not really affecting or servicing anything. And I'm like, this is Nick. This is the guy that put the Avengers together. Like, it just seems like almost a completely different character. Did he go soft when he was up in space all this time?
I think that's on purpose.
No, I agree with you. I'm having a hard time getting on board with it.
Yeah, I think that's on purpose. I think Nick Fury makes a good point of, I let your men capture me. He was specifically out there because he knew, right? I think there's a lot more. Okay, so let's back up a little bit, right?
Yes.
The premise of Secret Invasion, like you said earlier, is Skrulls basically taking over people at all sorts of level within government, within private companies. And it really culminates with us finding out that a lot of high-level people are actually Skrulls, and they have been for many, many, many years. And we're just finding out now, and S.H.I.E.L.D. is trying to put a stop to it, and blah, blah, blah. This show does a very good job at misdirection. Right from the beginning, you don't know what's going on. You don't know who's who. You don't know what to trust. You're seeing things, but you don't know if you should trust what you're seeing. They're doing a very, very, very good job of making sure that us as the viewers have that same impression that we had back in the day when we're reading comics and we're first finding out about the Skrulls, and you're like, wait a second. Wait, you mean the president's been a Skrull for the last 10 years?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you could already tell they're playing us, right? And I think that the whole Fury thing is a play. I'm not even 100% sure that is Fury. First of all.
Sure.
I'm not 100% sure that Maria Hill is Maria Hill.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I want to get to that real quick, because you did mention that in the pre-show. She visibly dies at the end of this episode. Guys, Maria Hill, Kobe Smulders visibly like she takes a last breath and then stops breathing. She is, for want of a better word, dead. Every other Skrull that was killed in this episode reverted to their Skrull form once they died. She did not. She stays the way she is when she passes. So I'm of the opinion that that's not a Skrull, that's how they wanted to get. Maybe Kobe Smulders was done with the character. Maybe they just wanted a big shocking death to get people talking about this show. I don't know, but it seems like she did. And now, mind you, so many of the MCU characters have died and not really been dead.
She's also not in the credits. She's at the end as a special guest.
That's right. So is she, because now that I'm thinking about it, in the trailer, I think all the scenes that she was in the trailer were all in this episode. So
very likely
this might be the thing that galvanizes Nick to quit just floating his way through this and actually become an active participant in what's going on. But it did feel like a giant setup episode. I'm not going to lie. A lot of the episode, and I understand too, from a purely aesthetic point of view, that when you're trying to put together like a taut political thriller, you're going to have a lot of like very straightforward, I don't want to say wooden acting, but you're not going to have a lot of the you're not going to have a lot of the goofiness and silliness that so much of the other MCU is. You're going to have a lot more grounded, but it felt almost not to that, but it didn't feel like we were in the greater MCU world, even though they made numerous references to Thanos.
Martin Freeman's at the beginning, and he turns out to be a Skrull.
Yeah. But the overall feel of Rhodey's there. We get to see Rhodey briefly, not very long, but he was there. I clearly it is in it, but it didn't. it has a definite. It's trying to go for something closer to akin to Civil War. I don't know if it's there yet, but it's clearly trying to mimic that
feel.
Yeah, almost like Cold War thriller style of.
Oh, you're talking about Winter Soldier, not
What did I say?
Civil War. You said Civil War.
Winter Soldier. Sorry.
Yeah.
Fuck Civil War.
I agree. They are very much trying to.
They're trying. Are they there yet for you though?
No. They're not. But I have a sneaky suspicion that the reason why this is only 6 episodes, and the reason why Armor Wars is also only 6 episodes, is because this is part 1, and Armor Wars will be part 2. I think.
Okay.
And that's why Rhodey is in this, and why he's going to be heavily involved in this, because he's in all of the promotional material.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the poster. So
we definitely got scenes in the trailer that we haven't seen yet, because we only saw Rhodey for like a minute in this one.
Yeah, we only saw him in one scene so far, right? So I think that this here is going to be part 1 of a 2-part. This is launching for me a new phase of the MCU, right? Because I think this is going to lead into Armor Wars, and it's going to lead into the Marvels, and it's going to then lead into Secret Invasion. Not Secret Invasion, sorry, Secret Wars, which I'm hoping are going to bring us the Secret Avengers.
So looking just here at a Collider article that came out, when does Armor Wars take place? Though Armor Wars currently has no release date, it was revealed at the 2022 D23 show that it would be taking place after the events of Secret Invasion and will tie directly into that. So,
well, there you go. Right.
So that makes sense, obviously.
Yeah, it does make sense.
But then, like you're saying, how does it curve back into the greater MC? Like, it can't just be 1 and 2 parts of its own thing and it has no impact. Like, how does it come back to? Is it tie into the Marvels and it helps to bring that story along?
I think.
What does that have to do with Kang? What does that have to do with Secret Wars?
I don't think it has anything to do with Kang. I don't.
So it's like an ancillary storyline that's just kind of taking place on its own on the side. Yeah,
I think so. I don't know. Look, I'm not a wizard here, right?
No. We're just talking.
Seeing.
It says after show right up over there. Like, we're just talking. It's good. It's fine.
But this is not just. It's going to be its own thing in the sense that we're probably not going to get multiple seasons of this. But it's also on its own. I don't think we're going to get a full story like we would, for example, in WandaVision, that had a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Right, 12 episodes, right? Like
exactly.
Very much, but hugely impactful for sort of what was to come. What was to come wasn't great, but they still built off of that for future stuff. And technically they still are, if they actually do end up doing a Vision series of some kind or bring Vision back in some way or whatever. But
well, we know Nick Fury goes back to Sword. Because in the Marvel's trailer, he's on the Sword space station with
Saber,
Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
On Saber. That's what they call the space station, right?
That's what they call Saber. Yeah.
They're on Saber
so
with Monica Rambeau.
Right.
So he goes back up there at one point, and we know that keeps going, and we know that that's being built with the Skrulls. Well, the good Skrulls, right? They're the ones that are helping out and sharing all this technology so we can build these ships in this space station. Which we haven't seen the ship yet.
No. Is it because I didn't get into Captain Marvel that I don't give a fuck about the Skrulls? Is that my problem? Is that why I'm not invested?
And that's probably also why, when it comes to Skrull storylines,
I don't care. I don't. What does it have to do with anything? It doesn't really matter. It seems like it doesn't matter much, anyways. Like in the overall, and the villain, this Gravik, I think is what they were calling him.
I don't know. What
seems like I'm hoping that they've only got 6 episodes. Like there's only 5 episodes left. It just seems like, and this was a giant fat setup episode, but it still feels like there was a lot of things like, or Emilia Clarke's character, I guess she's Talos is that his daughter? Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know who these people are. I don't know what's happening. I'm like,
They imply that her mother is dead and that I guess she's his daughter, but they never flat out say it. He also at one point says, "Oh, she's back," as if she was on their side at one point. Like, what do you mean? This is the first time we see her, right? She had never had a role in the MCU before. Like,
Or
There
did
was a
she,
lot.
or was she in Captain Marvel and we're just not remembering it because that was a largely, for me, forgettable film? I don't know.
I don't think she was in Captain Marvel,
No,
and
I know
she
Talos was
in
obviously.
Miss Marvel.
Was she? I don't know. I same thing. I didn't watch that. I don't know. Yeah. So
don't
this
know.
is probably on us. The thing is, I'm not going to go back and rewatch Captain Marvel, and I'm certainly not going to go back and watch for the first time Ms. Marvel, just to catch up and understand what's going on here. It's only 6 episodes. It just doesn't seem like they could do a whole lot with this whole arc in only 6 episodes. Well, 5 now. Shit.
Well, again, I don't think we're going to see the whole arc. Is the point I'm trying to make.
You're saying with Armor Wars, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I think Secret Invasion is going to be us realizing the extent of the damage.
So you're telling me they're going to do an entire 6 episode season of a show starring Samuel Jackson, and the whole thing's just one giant fucking setup? Like, we're not going to get any payoff? Come on, man.
I mean, we're probably going to get some sort of payoff, but I don't think that payoff is going to be satisfying enough for you to be able to sit down and watch just this show on its own for its own merit.
Yeah.
No.
That's rough.
There's no way.
Because if you're not invested in the entirety of the rest of the MCU as a whole,
then this show means nothing.
Then it doesn't seem like it's going to grab you if that's what it's going to be. And the more you're talking about it, the more I think you're probably right. That it's just a giant
think about
show.
it, right? All the characters in this show so far, well, other for the Emilia Clarke character and this new bad guy, all the good guys we've already met in other movies and shows, and we're already we've had Maria Hill for like 6 different movies, right? We had Nick Fury since Iron Man. We've had, well,
that was my assumption when they were talking about this film, this TV show in the first place. I assumed this was going to be like the swan song for Nick Fury. Like he would go out in a blaze of glory, or he would set everything up so things were going to be okay when he was gone or whatever. That's clearly not the case, especially like you said. I didn't even think about it. After the Marvels trailer, we know he comes out of this okay and he's back up on the space station. Like we know all that. So what the fuck is the point of all? What am I watching this for? For nothing? Just so I know what's going to happen in a couple of future movies? I don't give a shit anymore. No, this seems like a waste of time now. But I mean, hey, I've only got 5 episodes left. So now I'm like, well, I might as well watch the rest of it.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a waste of time in the sense that I have a feeling that everything is going to somehow have a repercussion on what happens at the end. What we're going towards is the Kang, what's it called?
The Kang Dynasty.
Kang Dynasty, right?
Which,
yeah, it's a dumb title. I don't get it.
The whole, and now are we even going to get it now that everything's going out with Jonathan Majors and his legal troubles?
I don't know.
Recast him.
All I know is right now there's a bunch of stuff in between now and then, and everything has to slowly build to that. Right. Remember when we first saw the Tesseract and we were like, what the fuck is this Tesseract? Right. And then we find out that it's an Infinity Stone. But we didn't know at the beginning it was an Infinity Stone.
But it had this air of mystery to it and this aura of power around it. And it was intriguing and interesting. And we wanted to know more. What do you want to know more?
Did you want to know more about the Ether?
Well, that movie was terrible, but that's not the point. That's Thor of the Dark World. You're right. So that's my question. After you watch this first episode, do you want to know more? Are you intrigued?
So I'm intrigued.
Okay, well that's good. Well, that's the mission.
100% I'm intrigued because I like the misdirection that they played on us the whole episode. Right. And then at the end, when Fury shows up and then he shoots Hill, and you're like, oh fuck, is that not Hill? And then you realize it is Hill. It's not Fury, right? Like they play a lot of those games in this episode, and I liked. Because I feel like that's what Secret Invasion should be about. You never know what the fuck is around the corner, right? And I think every single episode is going to throw us for a loop like that. And every episode we're going to be like, what the fuck, man? I think that's kind of the point.
As long as you're intrigued and you're invested based on that first episode, then that's the key. If that's where we're at, then we continue doing this. Guys, we continue doing this if we're invested. That's the key. Because there's only 5 episodes left. So we might as well keep doing this.
Yeah, I mean, until we're like, fuck this shit. This is
obviously
boring, and then we quit.
Yeah, exactly. But for now,
let's keep doing this.
We'll wrap this one up
until The Witcher starts.
Well, I mean, we got some
Which is
time
in, what,
before
3
that.
weeks?
No, it's June 29th, brother. Is the
Oh,
first
shit, it's
episode, the
next
first one's
week.
drop. It's next June. It's next week.
Oh,
That's why when
crap.
you were talking about doing, I'm like, we have to pick. We can't.
Yeah, we can't do 3 after
No,
shows.
no.
Can we?
You know
Guys,
what?
you let us know. What is it?
More of
Witcher? Do
this?
you want? Yeah.
Or do you want to see The Witcher? Because you know what? We're just two guys. We're already doing Strange New Worlds.
Which
Poor
we're
editor.
not going to stop.
No, Strange New Worlds is not. That is
Telling
not
you
on,
right now,
that's
Strange New World is not stopping.
That's not going anywhere.
Stopping.
Not today,
at all.
Satan. But poor editor by the way, guys, YouTube content has become a big business. And a lot of what you're seeing content-wise out there is teams of people. It's just us and one poor 27-year-old woman in Kitchener, Ontario. We can't do 3 shows in a week, plus anything, the ancillary stuff we're doing, plus the podcast. It's too much work for our poor editor, and it's too much work for us. We have lives.
Leave us a like for Megan. Leave us a like for
Please leave
Megan.
a like for Megan and throw some support for her down in the comments. But let us know, do we continue with Secret Invasion or do we skip this and next week we bring you The Witcher instead after show? It is the 3rd season. It is Henry Cavill's final season as The Witcher. And based on the clip, the 2.5-minute clip they just released with this insane fight sequence that looks so good. So you guys let us know in the comments or DM us on Instagram, whatever. Let us know.
We're going to be doing Witcher after.
What do you want to do? Do we want to do this or do we want to do Witcher? JS, take us out, brother.
I think that's it. So make sure you stay geeky. We'll see you then.